The city was buzzing that night, cold wind cutting through the streets like sharp glass. Snow flurries danced under glowing streetlights, and music drifted from the tall hotel lit up like a diamond. Inside, the wealthy laughed and clinked glasses, dressed in gowns and tuxedos. Outside, standing near the entrance in worn-out boots and a threadbare coat, was a homeless woman. She hugged her arms tight, trying to stay warm. Her face was pale, hair tangled, eyes tired. She stepped closer to the front door, where a red carpet stretched under velvet ropes. 2 security guards spotted her. One laughed. "You lost, lady? This ain't a soup kitchen." The other waved her off. "Move along before we call the cops." But the woman didn't move. She looked at the shining lights and said softly, "I need to go in." What no one knew was that she had a reason, and soon everyone inside would hear it. Her name was Sarah. Not long ago she lived in a small apartment above a bakery, where the smell of fresh bread woke her up every morning. She worked as a music teacher at a local school, where her classroom was always filled with singing, laughter, and the soft sound of a piano. Her students adored her, not just because she taught them music, but because she listened, really listened. Sarah believed music could heal. She had seen it work, especially with shy kids who bloomed under her care. She wasn't rich, but she was happy. Her heart was full. Then her mother got sick. The hospital bills grew fast, and Sarah used every bit of savings she had. She missed too many days at school, and eventually she lost her job. With no income and no family left, she fell behind on rent. The day the landlord changed the locks, all she had was a bag of clothes, her mother's scarf, and her old guitar. Some nights she slept in shelters, others under bridges. But through it all, Sarah never stopped playing. In subway stations, on sidewalks, near bus stops, her music still found a way out. People would stop and listen, some dropping coins, others just watching for a moment with soft eyes. In her worn-out backpack, she kept a notebook filled with lyrics and songs she wrote on cold nights. Her voice wasn't polished anymore, but it was real, full of hurt, love, and strength. No matter how invisible the world made her feel, Sarah still believed she had a voice worth hearing. And tonight, outside that grand hotel with glittering lights, she knew it might finally be time for someone to hear it. Inside the grand hotel, laughter echoed through golden halls. Waiters in white gloves carried silver trays. A jazz band played softly in the corner, and chandeliers sparkled like stars. The gala was in full swing, a fancy fundraiser for youth arts programs. Wealthy guests in shining dresses and crisp suits mingled, sipping wine and talking about donations. At the heart of it all was the main event, a special performance by gifted young artists. One of them was a girl named Layla, a talented singer who used to be so shy she could barely speak in front of a class. Sarah had been the one to help her find her voice. Even after losing everything, Sarah kept up with posters and flyers around the city. When she saw Layla's name on the gala announcement, she made up her mind. She didn't come to ask for help. She didn't come for food or shelter. She came to support her student. As she stepped toward the entrance, guests turned to look. Her coat was torn, her face weathered from cold nights, and her shoes had holes. She smiled gently at the guards and said, "I'm here for the performance." "I used to teach Layla." One guard raised an eyebrow. "You a guest?" "No. Just hoping to watch." The other guard chuckled. "People like you don't belong here. Try the back alley." Some people in line snickered. A woman in a sparkling gown looked Sarah up and down with disgust. But not everyone was laughing. Near the edge of the crowd, a man in a dark suit stood still, quietly watching. His name was Mr. Benson, one of the event's main organizers. He had seen many people come and go that night, but something about Sarah made him pause. She looked broken, but not weak. He didn't say anything. Not yet, but he didn't look away either. One of the guards reached for Sarah's arm. "All right, time to go." "Wait," said a calm voice from behind them. The guards turned. Mr. Benson stepped forward, his eyes still on Sarah. He looked serious, not angry, more curious than anything else. "What did you say your name was?" he asked. Sarah looked down, suddenly feeling the weight of every eye on her. Sarah Green. Mr. Benson's brow lifted. Did you used to teach music at Westlake School? She hesitated, then nodded. A soft smile touched his face. Layla told me about you. Sarah blinked, confused. She did. She said you were the first person who ever believed she had something special, that you changed her life. The guards looked unsure now, stepping back slightly. Mr. Benson turned to them. She's coming in, let her pass. Just, don't make a scene. They backed away, silent. Sarah stood there, stunned. Come on, Mr. Benson said gently. You should see her sing. As Sarah stepped through the doors, the warmth hit her like a wave. Golden lights danced across marble floors. Laughter, music, and the scent of fresh food filled the air. She felt small and out of place, like walking into someone else's dream. She didn't know where to stand, didn't know what to do with her hands. Her coat was still damp from the snow, and her shoes squeaked against the clean floor. But none of it mattered. She wasn't there to fit in or be noticed. She just wanted to see Layla perform, to see if the shy girl she once knew had truly found her voice. Backstage, Layla stood in a shimmering dress, clutching a microphone with shaking hands. She had rehearsed for weeks. Her voice was ready, but her heart wasn't. From the side of the stage, she scanned the crowd, and that's when she saw her. Sarah, standing near the back, wrapped in her worn coat, hair tucked behind her ears, eyes wide with pride. Layla's breath caught in her throat. Suddenly the lights felt too bright, the room too big. All the courage she'd built started to crack. I can't, she whispered. I can't go out there. One of the organizers rushed to the host. She's panicking. She saw someone in the crowd and froze. The host frowned, tapping his mic. Well folks, while we wait for our next young star to take the stage, he forced a chuckle. Why not enjoy a little more music? Behind him Mr. Benson watched Layla disappear into a dressing room. Then he turned towards Sarah. He walked over quietly and asked, "Do you still sing?" Sarah's eyes widened. Me? He nodded. She's not ready. But maybe if she hears you she will be. Sarah looked around the room. She saw silk dresses, polished shoes, diamond earrings. She saw people with lives far from hers. I'm not dressed for the stage, she whispered. Mr. Benson smiled. You don't need to be, just sing for her. He pressed the microphone into her hand. As Sarah stepped onto the stage, murmurs rippled through the room. Is that the homeless woman from outside? What is she doing? Who let her up there? The spotlight warmed her face. She closed her eyes, her fingers trembled, then she took a breath, and sang, softly at first. A melody full of sorrow, hope, and something more, something only life could teach. The lights dimmed until only a single spotlight remained, shining down on Sarah like a full moon in a dark sky. She stood frozen for a second, gripping the microphone with shaking hands. Her heart pounded so loud, she wondered if the front row could hear it. She cleared her throat, took a deep breath, and closed her eyes. Then she began to sing. It was a soft, simple tune, one she had written years ago for her students. A lullaby of sorts, filled with gentle hope, and the promise that even in the darkest times, you're never truly alone. Her voice wasn't perfect. It cracked in places, small and unsure, but it was real. Every note carried her story, the nights spent under bridges, the subway songs, the lessons she used to teach in a classroom, filled with color and sound. The crowd, which had been full of whispers and judgment before, fell silent. The murmurs returned, but now they were different. She's amazing. That voice. Who is she? In the wings of the stage, Layla peeked out, tears streamed down her cheeks as she listened. She wasn't hearing just a song, she was hearing her teacher. The one who told her that her voice mattered. The one who stayed late after school to help her believe it. Sarah's voice rose on the last verse, filled with pain and something deeper, love. She held the last note just long enough to leave the room breathless. Then it ended. Silence. A beat passed, then another, And suddenly, a loud clap. Then another. Then the whole room stood, applause crashing like thunder. People were cheering. Some had their hands over their mouths, others wiped away tears. Sarah stood there, stunned. For the first time in years, she didn't feel invisible. She didn't feel poor or forgotten. She felt seen. And just for a moment, as the light shone down and the sound of clapping filled the hall, she forgot she was homeless. She was simply Sarah, a teacher. A voice finally heard. As the applause finally faded, a figure burst from backstage. It was Layla. Tears streamed down her face as she ran straight into Sarah's arms. "You came," she sobbed. "You really came." Sarah held her tightly, her own tears falling now. "Of course I did. I couldn't miss your moment." They stood there together, teacher and student, hearts full. Benson stepped up beside them, and gently took the microphone. The room grew quiet again. "Everyone," he said, "you just witnessed something extraordinary. That woman you just heard. Her name is Sarah Green. She was once a music teacher, who helped students like Layla find their voices. Tonight, her voice reminded us why we're here." He looked around the room. "This gala has raised over $1 million for youth arts programs. And I'd like to announce that the first special grant we're awarding tonight is going to Sarah." Gasps echoed across the room. Sarah shook her head, overwhelmed. "No, I can't take that." "Yes," Mr. Benson said firmly. "You gave so much to others. Now it's your turn." Another person stepped forward, a woman in a navy suit. "We'd like to offer you a teaching position at our music school." A guest nearby raised a hand. "And I can help you find a place to live. A real home." One by one, the people who once judged her now stepped forward with kindness. They no longer saw a homeless woman. They saw a hero, a voice that had survived the storm and sang through it. And for the first time in a long time, Sarah smiled without fear. A few weeks later, the sky was brighter. Spring had begun to push away the cold. Inside a sunny classroom, voices filled the air, high, bright, full of joy. Sarah walked through the door with a guitar on her back, and a warm smile on her face. She was a teacher again. The room was alive with music. Children clapped along as she strummed a gentle rhythm, guiding them with kindness and patience. Her laughter came easy now, and her eyes sparkled with something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Layla visited often. Sometimes she'd bring her own guitar, and the two would play side by side. Other times she'd just sit in the back and listen, smiling as the younger kids sang the songs Sarah once wrote in subway tunnels. Though Sarah's life had changed, she hadn't forgotten the nights spent in the cold, the hunger, or the silence that comes when no one sees you. She remembered all of it, but now when she sang, it wasn't for spare coins, it was for hope. For healing. For the belief that everyone, no matter how lost or forgotten, has a voice worth hearing. And sometimes when she looked out at her students, wide-eyed, eager and full of dreams, she thought back to that night at the gala. They had laughed when she showed up, but they listened when she sang.